April 25th, 2018.
I was there.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda at this time? Hearing none, acceptance of the minutes of April 11th, 2018.
I have a correction before you vote.
Don't we vote first, then you make the correction?
I'd like to make the correction before you vote. Patty brought it to our attention that in the minutes, it says 3:30 is when she will be leaving for the next few weeks, and it's actually 3 p.m. It's on the second page, under D, and it's the fourth line down.
So do I change it on
Yes.
the official copy?
And it will be noted in the new minutes.
I'll move that we accept the minutes with the correction as submitted.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as corrected. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are carried. Communications and public comments.
I'd like to introduce Wayne Estee, candidate for the Democratic Party for state senator. He's asked to speak to the board.
Briefly, because you don't get paid overtime.
This is true.
My name's Wayne Estee. I'm a retired attorney, economist. Worked for what is now Eversource in the beginning of my career, and then for the Public Utility Commission for the next 35 years. I was also on the siting council that decided where windmills and solar panels and cell towers went. And I want to run for the Vermont Senate because of all the places I could have retired to. I picked Dover, not exactly Westminster, but could have gone to Barcelona, could have gone to San Juan, Pittsburgh, but this is it, and I've never regretted it. I have learned that the people here are just the way they always were treating me, and the way I reacted with them when I visited as a kid and came up here on vacation with my kids. And here I am. My goals are to be involved. My intent is to, what I don't know, and I don't know a lot, and there's even more that I don't know. Act 64 is a burden on towns. School unification is a misguided effort to reduce school funding. And I don't believe that Windham County is getting its fair share of the state executive branch workforce, particularly. 1/29th of the state's payroll gets spent in Windham County. They have 234 workers, state workers. Maybe Public Service Commission could go down to Vernon where they're making decisions. Maybe the Arts and Preservation Commissions and those people could go to Bellows Falls where they could use a little attention. I believe if the state workers and the bosses drove on our roads and didn't have cell service and didn't have any more than when they could get internet connection at 10 megs and couldn't watch their Netflix, there might be some different decisions made about what we have here that they take for granted, and what people who might be interested, who would love to move here, find necessities like water, clean air, beautiful views. If they can't watch a Netflix movie, they can't get child care, they're hard pressed. And I'm sorry they might be so shallow, but they are 20 and 30 somethings. Thank you very much for your time, and
That's where we met. I ran for the Senate. I ran for the Vermont Senate, and I campaigned in Dover.
maybe. and I'm sure you got an overwhelming majority.
No,
Oh.
well, Peter Galbraith got into the
yeah.
race at the end, and that was the everybody got dazzled
Well,
about
that didn't
it.
work either, did it?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right, go back to work.
Good luck.
Any other communications and public comments at this time? Yeah, go for it.
I got a couple quick ones. A lot of talk out there. Can you explain what's gonna happen with road foreman? Or how you're going about it?
Well, as I told you,
Yeah?
there have been no solid decisions made of what we're doing. There was never any decisions made. There was a potential thrown out there that I discussed with you that has been discussed with me 4 times this week so far, that it was going to be fact. And I said, no, that was a potential that we talked about. I am assuming, and the board can correct me if I'm wrong, that as of the end of April, when Ron is gone.
May.
May.
Is that a May?
End of May when Ron leaves.
Right, yeah, May 30th.
That, so we've got another month there. You leave
The end of June?
the end of June, so we've got a little bit of, because you're still
Yep.
a part-time employee, we have actually 60 days to make a final decision on what we're going to do. So we have not made any decision on what we're going to do as far as a road foreman.
That's correct.
And we have, as I said, we've thrown I've thrown one option out there, and that's as far as we've gone with it.
Okay.
Is it a public option? Can you tell us what that option is? I'm just curious.
You might as well now, because I've been asked about it 4 times this week,
I'd like to
so.
know, yeah, I have no idea.
The option was, and I guess, as I said, it's pretty much public knowledge now, and it was just an option, is that if we do not find a road foreman in the next 2 months, that Russell or the town manager, who is also the road commissioner, will be interim road foreman until we can find a road foreman who is qualified to fill the position. That was just an option that I threw out there. It was not fact, it was not voted on, it was nothing more than that. But all of a sudden, it's become what everybody thinks we're gonna do. And I'm not sure how it got out there, because we never went any farther with it than that.
So there aren't any qualified applicants right now as of?
There are no applicants that really anywhere near meet the qualifications that we were asking for in the road foreman position.
But we re-advertised, we were advertising again?
I assume that we're re-advertising.
We haven't
again.
yet. We are gonna meet after this meeting, an executive session to talk about what we've got.
Okay.
And then you wanted Kevin involved, and he
Yep.
was missing at the last meeting.
So that's as far as,
It wasn't a plan, it was the ultimate backup plan if nothing else happened, we discussed, but it wasn't something you're planning for.
And that decision is always made by the select board? Like it's not voted by the town residents, whether we want a town road foreman or not?
It's not voted from the resident.
Right. Mark never would have been road foreman.
but as I said, it's information that really shouldn't even be out there right now, and obviously it is out there, so how it got there, I don't know. But that's the one option that, I threw out there, and I'll admit that I was the one that threw it out there. But that's as far as we've gone with the,
Does that mean a salary for the road foreman? Like the road foreman would have been at the garage and doing that kind of work?
nope.
But if you have a full-time,
The road foreman is a salaried position.
right, that really
The
should be at the
full-time
town.
road foreman.
That should be at the town garage, taking care of our roads in Westminster, I would think. I don't know,
Generally, he is.
okay.
That is where Mark generally is, or has been in the past until he
So
retired.
you retire.
And that is where Mr. Clace has been now that, and he's going to
Right.
or he's retiring, I guess, we'll call it that, if you will. And so until we find, and we will find somebody that's, somewhat meets the qualifications that we're looking for, that we have advertised for. And at this point, we really don't find that we've got anybody that meets those qualifications.
Everybody, I get stopped all the time, always by men. And they ask, what's happening with the town foreman? And I said,
Position.
Seems
we're
to be
working on it.
Seems to be the hot item, so if that answers your question, that's
Fine.
as far as I can answer at this point in time.
The other one I have is, what, are we gonna move along with the 5-year plan for the garage?
Well, we have not discussed that.
Correct.
So last year, we didn't really make it in the 5-year plan. I think the idea was that the town hall took priority and the Northwest Community Center. Because the town garage obviously could use some improvements, but it's not falling down.
Well, that's true. It's not falling down. Either is this place.
And we did put money.
Yeah,
Oh, we put a little bit aside, but
We've put money aside, we've started putting money aside for it, and
but
that's,
it's already been 2 years, going on 2 years,
to raise the
you know?
bay and talking
So-
about extending it, so.
We're basically starting to look at it, because the question is it even worth putting money into the building compared to, so before we spend money on, let's say, repairing the roof, which would be a major repair, I think we'll go back to the drawing board and look at all their options first. One would be like, is it gonna be just cheaper to go get a loan for 20 years and put a new building up and all those? So I
But
think,
we haven't discussed that at any
No.
of the meetings.
No, they
Not
haven't.
even once.
no.
We haven't.
We haven't discussed any of that, that's what I'm trying to say. It's basically, nothing's been other than we discussed.
But is that something that we wanna,
Only thing we discussed.
we gotta wait for the town hall to be done before we started, or what?
Well, I mean, we're gonna spend a lot of money on the town hall.
Right.
Right, well, I understand that.
Yeah, so I don't know, I guess the question is, do we wanna have 2 major projects going at once? Maybe that's a question for the town, I don't know, but
We
it
would, it
seems
would
like
be
a lot of
something,
money
yeah.
to be spending at the same time.
don't know, I thought we did pretty well to start putting money away for it, and we've put a pretty good chunk away for it already. So,
For maintenance on it, basically,
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is maintenance.
Yeah.
Mark, is there something that's an imperative that you feel right now that needs to be addressed in the structure, besides the roof? Which-
Well, it ain't so much the roof is extra room,
Okay,
more room. You know, and you're looking down the road, and Russ knows it, that our fuel tanks that are in the ground that are gonna have to be taken out, you know? It's a lot of cost, it's gonna be a lot of cost in the next, for the rest of our lives. It don't matter if it starts now or 2 years down the road, but if we're gonna start 2 years down the road, we need to get started.
Right, well, maybe one thing to do is, put more money into the fund next year and explain why we need to do that. We think we need to do that. But,
That's the only way it's gonna get money, is to ask for it, and
yeah, well, we
Yep.
have, we could ask for more.
Yeah.
Guess that's a discussion we should have, and maybe we could hear from people.
yeah. We need to look at all our options too, you know?
What do you mean, like replacing it and?
No, I would, that could be one. Another one would be just put up another small building that you would, because he said they ran out of storage.
Right, well, we talked about that.
Right, we talked about all this time. We have not ruled out any choice.
no, we haven't.
I think all we
Just
kept saying was,
saying we need
let's
to-
keep putting some money in case we have to do the roof or do something like that, but there's enough land there that I think that long-term, that's where our garage will be, you know?
so it's on our minds. It's not on the
I'm
top
just-
of our minds, but it's on
I
our
understand
minds.
that, but I'm just saying,
Okay,
so don't get set behind, and if we need to ask for more money at town meeting,
We've been waiting for you to retire so you have time to get on that committee and help
I
us
could
do
do
that
that.
study. yeah. Trust me, you will be the one.
So,
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
So I have more unfinished business. I'm back again this week because
We're
I'm
not
wondering.
on unfinished business
Oh, we're
yet,
not, okay.
but we're getting there really quick.
Communications and public comments?
We're still
Okay.
on communication.
I'm sorry, I'll wait till the unfinished business.
You don't push this meeting right along. You don't like it.
I know, I'm like,
Yeah,
I've been all day.
Actually, it's a question for Mark. You just made the comment that the town garage is out of storage. So if for some reason we have an issue with not being able to vote at the Institute, the town garage wouldn't be able to store all our stuff that we have stored over there, correct?
No, that stuff that you had for voting used to be at the garage as it
Could it go
was.
back there?
I
if
do
we needed
believe it could.
Okay.
You're talking about equipment, that's what you're
Right.
talking about.
Okay.
Storage, that's what he's discussing, like
Okay.
trucks.
Did you get that? Stuff like that.
Could you just go back? I don't understand. She's asking about voting equipment, you're talking about trucks. What would you like me to put? What are we talking about here?
storage, they're talking about a
Different kind of storage.
Okay,
Right, but I didn't realize there, we
I don't think you
have,
have to put it in.
great, I won't put anything in.
so we have stored voting stuff at the garage, is that the?
We used to have it all at,
I see,
there,
but we have
before we-
not, okay,
yeah,
gotcha, so
before we
that's,
went to the Institute.
And now
Okay.
it's stored at the Institute. Should something happen and we have to get out of the Institute, could we go back to storing stuff at the town
right,
garage?
I see what you mean.
And it's not trucks or anything, it's voting booths and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. Anything else on the communications and public comments?
Yes, in front of you, you have a letter from HCRS that you should probably pass around. It's a thank you letter for their appropriation this past year.
I'll start it down that end. Thank you. Why don't you just read it? As long as it's in your hands.
Dear Mr. Beebe, I'm writing to thank you and the residents of Westminster for their vote on town meeting day approving financial support in the amount of $3,210 for healthcare and rehabilitation services walk-in clinic. We sincerely appreciate this support from the citizens of Westminster. These funds will help us to ensure services for all citizens who need them, regardless of their ability to pay. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Again, thank you for your support! Exclamation. George Karpakakis.
Thank you.
Excellent job of reading that.
It was. Do you want to look at it?
No, I believe him.
Do you want to look at it?
He's a very trustworthy person.
Okay.
Nice to send it.
Okay. Hearing no more communications and public comments. Now we'll go into unfinished business.
Do I have to wait to be after D?
Abandoned, yeah, you
I
gotta
can
wait.
wait, okay.
Abandoned mobile home, update.
I
What
did
have
get
we
a hold
heard?
of the brother, as requested, and he is, looking into the family to see who's got the interest in it, and he'll get back to me. He hasn't yet, but he is interested in the property himself.
There you go.
Because he's right there. So hopefully it's moving in the direction that we want it to.
Good. New dog ordinance, public hearing date.
It's finally been set for May 23rd at 6 PM before your regular scheduled meeting. It's in the Gazette, and I'll have the sandwich boards out for probably the first full week in May, to make sure that everybody knows it's available.
Good. Fund reserve policy discussion.
That's it.
It's in your packet again. It has the corrections made as requested. It was asked to table it until Kevin came back, if he had any suggestions to it.
I have a few questions or comments. We were talking about what term we should use for the reserve fund. I was reading something, I think up in Burlington, they use unassigned fund balance, which might be something to consider. I mean, to me, that's descriptive of what it is, right? Unassigned.
Can't remember what we called it,
Well, I think we left it at reserve fund, right?
emergency reserve.
Right. So, would that mean after we set aside the reserve fund, the rest would be essentially an unassigned fund balance? Okay. The other question that's still not clear to me is, the 5% working capital for the general fund. So I kind of understand what that's for. But then, if we talk about, this new fund will not be used for regular town expenses, the working capital would be used for town expenses, right? Because the working
That's
capital
correct.
idea is so, I don't know that it matters, but just to be clear.
So this new, it's again, this new
50%.
emergency reserve or whatever you're gonna call it.
Yeah, the 15% emergency management fund would not be used for regular town expenses.
We keep going back to
Does
that
that make sense?
emergency, then you gotta describe what emergency is, where I do like what you're saying about unassigned, and it's really vague, right? Because once you say it's emergency, then you gotta go back and describe what the emergency fund is, what is the criteria for emergency, you can take it out, where if you have it just an unassigned, you should be able to take it out for anything that you would need.
How bad an emergency does it have to be?
You'd have to describe what it is,
Well,
to have a policy, right? You would say, the next thing you would say is emergency fund requirement is this, this, and this, in order to be an emergency. That's why I like what Susan just said, it was just unassigned, which is basically what we do. We
It's
get that.
explained in the next paragraph, under reserve fund expenditures.
I just thought it was kind of vague.
Unanticipated revenue shortfalls and paying non-reoccurring and unanticipated general and highway fund expenditures of the town. That's pretty clear in what parameters you would be looking at.
I imagine that, when that will be important is if and when we're explaining this policy to the public, which at some point, people will have that question.
Yeah.
We should-
Yeah. No question.
I'm not sure it has to be in the policy or be
So do
that
we-
specific.
So do you want to get rid of the word emergency and put,
Well, I mean, no, after I said that, I realized that there's the fund, which is the 20%, whatever we call it, but then the rest would be unassigned fund balance, right?
yes,
We
that's
had
the
any other
5 and 15
surplus.
to make
Mhm.
20. Yeah.
So I guess not, because the unassigned would fund balance, so say we had $500,000 left over at the end of the year.
I just think that when you
Yeah, well,
describe
I
the
think
word,
Are we
this,
getting-
this would be not just random leftover money. This
Right.
would be programmed.
That's what I'm saying, so the random leftover money would be the unassigned fund balance.
That's-
Right,
that might
and
be
what
that.
what the taxpayers asked for is they wanted a limit to what you
Right.
hold.
Yep,
And the rest, you appropriate.
so there would not
To the-
really be an,
either
there
offset
wouldn't be an
taxes.
unassigned fund balance in that sense.
That's correct.
Okay, so skip that totally,
Okay.
right.
So, I mean, again, this is just a work in progress. I mean, it's something that you just don't want you to forget about it.
Nope.
We want to make sure that you guys are all square with what it says and then bring it in front of the public.
As in a public hearing, correct?
Could be, yeah.
Or is that what your plan is, or that's what your thoughts are, or not?
It probably should be.
Okay.
I think given
That's the
the
easiest
general
way to-
interest at both town meetings, we should have offer people a public hearing.
Yep.
Maybe we can find out if this is what they have in mind.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
might say-
exactly.
No, something else totally different.
Okay, anything else on this, at this point? Yes, no, third quarter financials.
Those are the same things that we got at the last meeting.
That, yes, you asked to be able to review it for a couple of weeks, and if you had any questions, you'd come back with them.
Was this what you wanted to talk about? No.
What is this? This is the general ledger details transaction report?
That's the next one down, under new business.
Oh, okay, we haven't talked about that yet. Okay. It's the same, so.
How we're doing on dog licenses while we're sitting here looking at this?
When you got
Behind
that,
ahead.
it wasn't great, but now they've had quite a bit of surge in the last 2 weeks.
Up to 347, I think,
Dogs.
dogs that are registered.
What was our total last year?
452, I think.
No.
We still have a couple of big farms that haven't
Mine's
come in.
registered.
Well, you could have done it twice.
He's such a little dog, I should have done it half.
Done that too, I suppose, that's a possibility. Anybody got anything?
Is there anything, I was gonna ask the town manager, is there anything that alarms you at all in this thing?
No, we have still some little bit of movement here and there. We miscoded some things that Kelly and I saw today, going through it, but nothing substantial. We'll get with the treasurers soon and get those moved around before the end of the year. It's just miscodings, so we'll move them around and be in good shape.
Will come June 31st. There's no-
Yeah, there's no movement then, so we have to
But I'm
make
saying
sure
there's no
everything's good.
surprises come
There won't
June.
be any surprises at that point, this point.
Did we talk about whether we would get any money from Westminster Meats? We talked about that, right?
We did, and it's still up in the air.
Okay.
Legal counsel's got it, and they're trying to find the right avenue now.
Is this the first year we're gonna get the revenue from the state police? Or is it's next year?
It's actually gonna be in next year,
It'll be
which
in next
comes
year.
in October.
Right.
Maybe.
But that was unanticipated too. We didn't-
That will be, because we have no idea what they're gonna value that
Right, okay.
pilot at.
Anybody got anything? On expenditures? Anything on the general ledger? Ready to move on? Yes? No? What are we doing?
I'm all set.
All set? Kevin? Okay.
Unfinished business.
So now, so can I?
Now you can jump in.
Thank you, I thought you were gonna go right by me for a minute there. So this is kind of unfinished business from our meeting 2 weeks ago, and I still need some answers. I'm not sure if it was discussed, after we left the meeting 2 weeks ago or not. But I do realize, looking at the budget, that as treasurer, the new position that opened up by June 31st, just with minimum hours, that I'm trying to
There's
get.
no June 31st.
I'm sorry, June 30th.
She's quoting Craig.
June. Exactly, that's what I did.
did say June 31st.
That's funny, thank you. So I do realize that with minimum hours that I'm putting in and the minimum pay that Ally's getting as assistant treasurer of $22 a week for putting in as many hours as I am putting in and making more. So with the treasurer's budget, the assistant and treasurer's that is mine, we're definitely going to be in the deficit before June 30th already, not by a lot, but a little.
I was doing some math, and I'm just curious about, I mean, I think there's a way that we can figure this out. You know, I mean, I was thinking, so the $2,100 that was for the period from town meeting until June 30th, I mean, you can divide them up and see how much of a deficit we have.
We have done
And
that.
I did this for next year too, with the 70, whatever it is, which is about $700 a month, which would be at your $20 an hour, would be 9 hours a week. Now, is that making any sense at all?
I'm already over that at 15 to 16 hours, and that's with Ally probably putting in another 10
Well,
to
I'm
15. I'm not even sure if I'm not here.
Well, we know that there's a reason why you might be putting extra hours in now, but you think that's going to continue through the year?
Definitely, I think there's going to be more because it's going to be when tax collection comes in, not delinquent taxes, which Russ is taking care of right now, but during the normal tax collection in February and September, definitely during audit time. There are other times where there's going to be definitely more hours. The reason why I took the treasurer's position, I took the treasurer's position is because I knew I'd have an assistant to do the things that I'm finding out at the end of the month. Every period, there's things that need to be done, and it might be a Monday or a Friday, the days that I can't be here, and that's where, Ally's, the assistant treasurer can do those things, whether it's cash receipts and depositing those, or closing out the period, that kind of thing. I'm realizing there's a lot more to it, and that's with me, like today, being here and not even leaving the building once. I ate a half a sandwich as I was typing in the computer, because I just want to get it finished and do my work, and I have other things on my schedule, and it's a lot. So that's what I'm realizing. So my question is that if we're going to be in a deficit, I don't want to work without being paid. I don't want an assistant that's not being paid enough for the job that she's doing when I'm not here, and it's a minimal amount. She's getting paid nothing right now, but what we would need would be minimal. I guess my question, I want to be transparent. I want I want everyone to know what our deficit is, so when it comes to voting on the budget again the next time, that they will see this is what we need to cover this separate treasurer's position and assistant treasurer's position, and keep it, as realistic as we can keep it. But if we don't show that deficit, nobody's going to know. But also, where is that money going to come from? So. And that's my question. There are looking at the general ledger, there are definitely other salary positions that are or employee positions that are in the deficit. Where is that money coming from? And why are we able to get?
I just think that, the rest of you can see who have been around. There always was a low budget for the treasurer, mainly because it was Doreen was doing it, and that's the way she wanted to do it. So it was not a realistic amount of money. I think it was $5,000 actually.
And it's still there, right?
Yeah, and the reason it's 7,000 something is because it took
$1,200 for the assistant.
Yeah. So I guess what we have to do is figure out what is realistic for that. The problem with it is, and where it gets dicey, is the fact that because her salary was, a big amount, and it included everything except, I don't know why she only wanted the $5,000 to be,
Because she
Treasurer.
received 12,000 as finance officer.
Yeah. Almost 13,000 as finance officer.
So it was
And
really
that budget line is gone.
18,000.
that was why it was 5,000.
That's
For the
right.
treasurer, yeah.
So at this point in time, we're looking at, throw a number at me, 10 hours a week by you, 10 hours a week by you, 20
It's-
hours total
It's
by
No.
two people?
Um,
Are we talking
where,
about?
I think it's,
That's true.
yeah, I think Jackie is getting stressed out because she's trying to learn the job and she's doing a really great job, but today she got really flustered because she was trying to get the job done in an amount of time that was gonna make everyone happy. And I asked her not to worry about that because I would pick up the slack, but she's,
But then
it
I'm
stressed
saying
her
that I'm
out.
not paying her anything, because I'm only giving her, I'm
And
only
I'm not,
paying her 22, and she's not asking for more, but it also doesn't, it makes me not want to ask her to do anything extra, which is what the plan was, because it was,
So-
yeah, I'm coming in extra days.
it actually, in reality, while she's still training, if it would be allowed for her to have a place where she could go at least 12 hours a week, and then I told her she's gonna get used to doing payroll and payables, and she'll be able to get that off her plate quicker, but there's so much more to do than just payroll and payables. Part of it's done on Kelly's side, the rest is done on Jackie's side. I mean, she's gotta worry about 941s, the whole deal, you know, the taxes, everything. And there's a whole lot more to do. We have to do budget installation, we've got to report quarterly. There's a whole list of things that have to get done that's just not getting done
What's
because
budget installation?
we have to, what you voted on at town meeting, we have to plug those numbers into the budget, so.
Then
we
your
get a-
budget amounts.
But
So you're thinking 12 hours a week?
At least now for Jackie, if she can do it. If she can put in 12 hours a week, if it's possible. Right now, she's stressing out, she's doing Lister in the morning on Tuesday, and afternoon, she's working as treasurer and coming in on Wednesday, or showing up on Friday to do some stuff too.
And tomorrow I will
And,
finish
yeah,
the
so-
tables. However, I wouldn't mind 10 hours a week and then having you do more at 12 hours a week or more as my assistant, is what I was expecting because we had that assistant treasurer and treasurer's position. In a lot of towns, most towns have treasurers and assistant treasurers, unless they have a financial officer, like Doreen was. Because we need that help, not because we need someone sitting here in the office waiting for someone to come in, but just because if April 30th is on a Monday, and so we need to close out the period, the monthly general ledger, everything, and I can't be here on Monday. So Ally's gonna be doing that for me, and then I'm at that point where I feel bad, because again, she's getting $22 a week with the budget that we have left, for doing that, doing as many hours as working as many hours as I am. And so that's stressful. That's stressful for me, because I don't want to ask her to do this stuff. She does it because she's very conscientious and wants it to get done, and is so helpful to me, but that's what I'm working with, and I'm told to work with that budget. And I guess my question is, who do I go to say, okay, there are other budget lines that are in the deficit and you find money for those areas. Where am I supposed to go to find the money?
Well,
you're
I'm
gonna be in a
going to the right
deficit.
place.
And I've been here 3 times.
Yes, well, we're going to work it out. But I'm
The
sorry.
only thing I'm confused about is you keep bringing out, there's 2 years here. We already know that you're gonna be deficit spending, and this year's only 2 months left. And you gotta learn. We
But I was
already know
told that I couldn't go past that budget, so what am I supposed to do?
No matter what, you look like you're gonna go over it. There's
So-
nothing we can do about it. But I think the board is more concerned is starting in July 1st, we got another whole year to go.
Me too,
If we
I'm
keep going
concerned.
this way, we need to have better planning of like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because those other budget lines, we control, but if there's bad weather and people are working, they're paid by the hour. We don't control your office. We rely on you coming telling us how it works. And so now we gotta sit down and try to be creative, but I think our main concern is starting July 1st. If we keep going down this, and we're thinking between now and July 1st, you will work it out to know hopefully a little bit more that we're not If not, we need to sit down and have a long discussion, of what are we gonna do next year? There's not much we can do for 2 more months.
And is that done here at select board meetings, or do we
Yeah.
meet in a different way? Or
No,
so this is what I'm supposed to do, come here to,
Yeah.
because it concerns me too, because,
It's a unique position because you don't really work for us, you work for yourself.
right, and it's.
And that's why I'm saying-
finding out it's an important position.
The other ones work for us, and if all of a sudden, highway crew, we always had problems because if it's a bad weather and they get paid by the hour and we have to forecast, we have to guess, and then we also have other things in our budget of gravel and sand or something. We try to stay within that budget. But we really have no control. Nothing stopping you from coming back and saying, I gotta work 30 hours a week. And then you're coming to us to say, well, how's it gonna work? Really?
Right.
We gotta work it out, we gotta figure it out, and it's your office.
And I'm hoping as I'm more familiar with the programs and it will be, it will even be quicker. So,
She would like
So
to speak.
all the work, all this treasurer work here, so that's all work that you did, Ally, before?
and it's a lot.
And I did the assistant stuff.
Right.
And she was, yeah,
And
she
it's
did
still,
the assistant.
we still rely on Patty for her.
And Patty's still doing some of the assistant treasurer stuff for us and not getting paid for it.
So I guess what we're all here for is we wanna worry about doing our job. That's what we wanna worry about. We don't wanna worry about the budget and going over the budget to that we're gonna get in trouble or have you all angry. And we can explain the hours we're doing.
Well,
So-
the problem that we got stuck with is the fact, in a way, Ally, you know more than anybody else about the hours that were necessary to work, and you were doing both jobs.
That's right.
So, and because you're new at this, we can understand that there's a time right now.
For training, yeah,
that
training.
For training, that you just have to do. But when it fleshes out for the new year, that's when we have to know, presumably, you're smart, we know you're smart, and presumably by the July 1st, you're gonna at least know what you're doing and know what the hours are that you have to spend and can spend. And,
Except like during auditing and tax collection time, because that won't happen
Yeah, but
before
those,
July
you
1st,
know-
but it will be weekly, the normal. It should-
what the normal thing will be. And, you didn't want to do the job, so, and it's kind of too bad if you're doing it.
I think there was a lot of things I liked about the job, but I don't think I made the select board happy with the job I was doing. So, that's why I gave it up. And it was supposed to relieve some stress off me, and that I could concentrate on being the clerk. And when Jackie wanted me to be assistant, I thought it would be okay, because that way I knew what I was doing. I knew what was expected, and I knew the timeline. So,
I couldn't do it, I wouldn't be able to.
I enjoyed a lot of it, and so I don't want to get into all that now, but I
Yeah.
can.
Well, I think, one of the ways that you can handle it is, you've already decided what you need per hour. And and we know that this is an uneven time right now, so we won't look at this. But once you get to the beginning of the new year, you ought to be able to figure out in total, and this would be your decision as to the work that needs to be done. Basically, you are the treasurer, because you were elected to be the treasurer. And you have to know what that's going to need to be done. And if you have to assign to somebody who's willing to do it, the rest of it, I think that was why it was worded the way it was, that, but, if we know what it's going to be like, what the hours are going to be, let's not count those hours for Ally right now. Just count the hours that the Treasury needs to do the work. And then however that gets spread out, you let us know.
Okay.
and we'll work, you look puzzled,
That will also be with,
Patty.
I do look puzzled because
I
what happens when
keep
Janice
track
is
of
not
it.
here? I mean, I'm not understanding what you're saying, I guess, Toby.
No, I'm saying that she's the treasurer, right?
Yes.
She's elected, she's the treasurer, she has a responsibility for it. And you already are saying Mondays and Fridays you can't be here, and if you are required to have work done those days, you as the treasurer are gonna have to decide how that's gonna have to be. And what it is required as a budget item for that over the year. I mean, there are odd times, but you have to look at the basic thing. And then we'll have to work with it, you know, we can't not work with it.
and so that would also mean, like,
So we can just
Ally
go about
keeping track.
what we've been doing. Is that what you want us to do?
No, I'm just saying that this is her job. And if she's telling you that this is what she wants you to do, then yes, that's what it would be. But it's not everybody doing what they want to do. She's responsible for the whole thing.
but, and it is me asking Ally to do things because I'm
Yeah.
not here on those days, like,
Right.
Right,
Do you
like
understand what
Monday
I'm
and-
saying?
so, but how do I compensate Ally enough for the hours that she's putting in when I don't feel like $22 a week is what she's getting right now, and she definitely should be making more than that. I mean, it was only gonna be $46, it was only $46 using what we were doing, and that was $46 a week, so it would have been 90 something, 99 or 98 a month, every pay period, every 2 weeks. So I guess my question is, I understand what you're saying, Toby, because Craig said the same thing, that I'm pretty much, I work for myself. I know I work for myself, there's
And I think I think what the board is looking for, you're going around and around in circles, and
Right.
numbers
Right,
are
and
coming
I
out.
haven't gotten an answer.
I don't have an answer, you haven't laid anything out, and I said, I think what you need to come back to us as a board, saying, this is what I need in writing, so we can look at next year's
Okay.
budget, this is what I need for a total amount of hours, this is what I need for assistance, so we can start with looking at, because we're just talking, that's all we're
Okay.
doing.
Okay, good.
And I don't know what that equals. And
Okay.
so we need to look at the total amount that we have in your budget. We need to look at how much you think you're gonna need starting July 1st, because like I said, I don't think we're worried about between now and July 1st. It's next year's budget. And I think you need to come back to us in writing saying, I think that this is the categories I need to be in. How much I need for training, how much I need for an assistant, and how much I need for myself, and these are the hours I think I'm gonna need to work.
Okay.
And we didn't want to ask you for it right up front because
Right,
you hadn't
because we
been there long enough.
right, and we've said
But like I
that,
said,
right.
starting July 1st is, I think that's where you need to come back to us and say, this is where I'm short next year, where am I going? And we can look at it.
And I wouldn't, it would be good if you know, you kept us up to tabs up
Okay.
until that time as well.
Yeah,
But
okay.
just so we know, whether things are getting better, things are same as they were, or your hours are just, if, as I said, if we've got 12 hours for you, 12 hours for Ally, then that gives us something to shoot for. If it's, 15 for you and 15 for, but we've gotta have some idea where we're going with this.
Okay, so we're good to go to just continue on, and then July 1, Jackie's gonna continue to come to you if I've got this.
Well, you're gonna
straight.
do the best you can, I
Okay,
hope.
Right.
That's right,
Of
right, but what I'm,
course.
then in July 1, she'll have a better idea, then we can adjust from there. Is that what?
You
is
gotta
that
come
what-
back to us with a proposal where you're gonna be from July of the next year.
Right.
We know what we went to the voters and asked for, we know it's not enough, but we need to come back, you need to come back to us and say, I need this much in this department, which is the treasurer's department, this is to run, and you obviously
Okay.
don't have enough. And we've been talking, but I don't see anything in writing
No, this
to
is-
come back. And
this
then,
is a little bit
as you
clearer in
keep
my
saying,
mind now.
continue on, I don't know what it is, because it keeps changing, so it isn't like, yeah, well, does that mean you're gonna go work 40 hours? No, I don't think so. So I don't know what it is, because you haven't even come back and told us it's been this much regulated. It's been changing every week with you, and so we're gonna have to live with it, but come July 1st, we need to sit down and know that, hey, we're short, this is gonna work, but we need to come up with some money.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Patty?
Just, it's not a big amount of money, but maybe it's an idea where you can get a little bit on the revenue side and the town report. The school system pays the treasurer, pays the town for the treasurer to sign the checks every 2 weeks, $1,000 a year. Could you move that money from the general fund into the treasurer's account?
You know, conversations just like that is what we're looking for. If you come back and, you know, revenue is a good part of it.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
$1,000 a year the school
so
system pays.
If you
Just-
can come back and say, this is where I think I can come up with more money, God bless you, that's where we're heading. That's the direction we need to go in.
And that's just for the treasurer to sign the paychecks every 2 weeks.
Because so often we talk about expenditure, but we don't talk about revenue, you know, so, yeah.
Okay. So how often did you want Jackie to come back, just so we know that, so she knows?
As soon as she knows what she's gonna do.
No, do you say you want her?
If she doesn't come every select board meeting, I mean, we're only talking about, we've got, what, 4 select board meetings before,
Yeah.
or 5? So, at least a couple of them would be good.
And then you good, okay.
Yeah. Skip a week.
Okay, thank you. I wouldn't
Don't
mind a
stress
free
out.
Wednesday night.
Okay, is that all, anything else under unfinished business? Okay,
I do have a question. Sorry, a quick
you
one.
have the floor.
Quick one. Do we know anything more about Roger Farnsworth and?
No, I was gonna ask that, actually, but as long as you did, I don't have
Okay,
to.
all right.
We know nothing more. They finally, an actual lawyer called me and asked for some paperwork, and I told him, you know, he had to do his own research. So he came, and so he's actually hired a lawyer now, which,
Is the gate locked?
yes, it is.
He came and saw me, and my ear was ringing for quite a while, but that's kind of what I relayed to him. You've got to come, you got to have your attorney come in and see us, I don't care. He thought that we owed it to him, no, I go, no, that gate's staying locked until you actually come back, so he understands. He didn't like it, but he understood it.
Yeah, well, he just assumed not pay for it, I'm sure, but. Okay, anything else under unfinished business? Now that you asked my question. We'll go on to new business. Allocate money for emergency management fund / fire department.
They have not come back with a proposal, which I thought they were going to.
The fire
Yet.
department or?
The fire department.
Is that for the emergency equipment?
But in your packet, I wanted to show you where the fund monies were.
Show me what you're looking at. That there?
Yep. So the fund balance has $19,080.63 in it. So that's where it would be appropriate if you see fit to allocate money towards the emergency management gear for the
This-
fire
Did we-
department.
This is money that came out of Vermont Yankee, right?
Some of it, yes.
The 19,000.
That's correct.
80,46.
Didn't we vote on that last time?
No.
Or
No,
we
you
didn't, we
didn't
just
have
talked
an,
about it?
you just talked about it.
Okay.
I'm still
Still
trying
waiting
to
for
keep you in the loop.
Right, so
Yeah.
you're still
As
waiting for them to
information
come back,
comes,
right? Yeah.
so there won't be any surprises at the time that they actually need the money.
Okay. Tax sale.
Again, this is just to keep you in the loop and to refresh your memories. The town purchased the Zudnik property because it was in foreclosure. Excuse me, it was in bankruptcy court. And so when it came out, legal counsel recommended that we purchase it to get back our monies. The only way we were going to get our monies back. We purchased it for $18,786.13. By the time it's all said and done, the town will be eligible to receive about $22,000 to $23,000. And we can go back to 2009 and recoup our legal fees and expenditures that we had back then. So again, this was just to keep you abreast of what's happening.
From
This is the property off of Route 5,
We're
correct?
selling it? I mean, what
This is
it
Pine
sells
Banks
for?
Road.
If it's not redeemed by May 18th, it is the town's property, and then it will be put up for sale, and we can't make any money on this,
So
but we
that-
can recoup all of our costs, not
Okay.
just this 18,000.
Right.
So we will get all of the monies, and if somebody gets into a little bidding war, the proceeds that are made have to go back to Mrs. Zudnik.
And this is just empty land.
Yes, it is. It's 19.1 acres of,
Right.
of bare land.
Is this 91? This big strip in the middle?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
That's a format.
Can I, just a minute, I gotta, wait.
Yes, it is. The 05 is off to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is 91 corridor. No, no, no. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, you should. Complain. Complain about your brother, Millie,
Sorry.
whispering in a public meeting.
Let it be known, that I think the chair violated the open meeting law.
No, it's word of abatement.
Well, that camera didn't swing around and show you over there what you were doing, so
I'm sorry.
you're fine.
So that's tax sale, we got that done. Glebe-lands.
The state of Vermont is putting to every town the burden of declaring your glebe lands or your leased lands. I've done a little bit of research with Ruthie Pierce, and it doesn't appear that we have any left, but in your packet you have what the maps look like at one point, but we've cleared them up to the most part. But he still says that we should have an article before the town taxpayers that states that we are interested in accumulating any leased lands as they come about. Again, we don't think we have any, but without that vote, they go into this no man's land where nobody can claim them, you can't get taxation from them, they become a dormant piece of land.
You can't put them up for tax sale.
You can't do anything, right, exactly.
But
So
we don't think we have any, but we might have some.
we don't think we have any left. We had some, but we don't think we have any left, and, but that article will save us in case out of some map or some deed claims. That's correct. That's just the old
It looks the same.
example of the mapping.
So you need a,
I don't. I will
You
bring
don't
this
need it.
back to you when we start talking about articles for next year.
okay.
And I just don't want to forget it, and it was fresh in my mind, so I gave it to you now.
Okay. Personnel matter, executive session.
I move we go into executive session on personnel matter.
Well, second.
Motion's been moved and seconded to go into a personnel matter in an executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
We're waiting the town manager.
Yes.
we are inviting the town manager. We will go into executive session after other business.
We're not going to.
You're not going to it?
No. It's a new system, Mark. When you haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
learn
yeah.
the new system.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You have to warn it ahead of time.
Those opposed,
We're trying to train our rules well.
yeah, whatever. Managers report.
Quickly, there's quite a few items. Traffic safety audit results. In your packet, you have the results of that audit. If it is your pleasure, the town needs to send a letter to the Vermont Traffic Committee via Amy Gamble, If we're interested in keeping the, changing the speed limit that is 35 throughout that whole intersection of Allen Brothers and I-91, it turns 40 right at the entrance to I-91, and it's 40 through the Allen Brother and Harlow congestion. So if we're interested in having a survey done, we need to send a letter. I'm interested in hearing what they have to say more than what they've given in our results. I have a report that's 20 pages of what was said and what was looked at, but what I think makes the most sense for action for the town of Westminster is to say, yes, we're interested in seeing what that 35 mile an hour speed change would do to the congestion of that intersection and Allen Brothers.
Along with a crosswalk in front of the town hall.
I'm just gonna say
I
that.
don't know if you're gonna get that.
Well,
But
while they're here, maybe we could do some dealing and dealing.
They're just gonna be sitting in a chair watching cars go by anyway, so I mean,
Personally, I don't understand why we're involved with it. We're not involved with anything else on Route 5, are we?
It's because it's a safety audit, and the town has the right to weigh in on a safety audit, whether it's on our roads or not. It's in our town. So they came here.
Just, that's not the first time. We did, after that bad accident, when I
Well,
was on the board.
that's what triggered this thing, was the death last summer
Well,
with the motorcycle.
I'm talking about even further back.
I know that, I'm just
On the
saying what I...
123, we tried to get it, remember they were going by
Yeah.
there so fast and they had to,
so it doesn't cost us anything to be in part of the.
That's correct.
We're just gonna, yeah, weigh in on it, that's fine. Yes, everybody's happy with that?
yeah.
Good, okay, move on.
The high risks road grant, there's no sign of them yet, but, pun intended. But it is the signs on Westminster West Road. They said they were gonna start the whole process April 9th to June 29th. Well, obviously, we weren't first on the totem pole, but I'll keep you posted of that. Ironically, I filled out an animal bite survey report for the town of Westminster, and the results are in your packet. It's interesting to read what the whole state is experiencing with this, so it's some reading material for you at some point. The public hearing animal control ordinance is slated for 5/23 at 6 p.m. before your regular meeting. Wyndham Solid Waste Management District presentation by Bob Spencer and Christian Benoit is slated for June 13th now. It's confirmed, and I will have a light agenda on that night. Green Up Day this year is on May 5th, which is a Saturday. We do have the bags. We have given out quite a few. People are very interested in helping, and as usual, they're very energetic and they want to start as soon as they can.
I'll be at the school that morning too, with bags.
Thank you.
And so I put that in the story for the Gazette.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and so did I.
Okay.
We do have a new hire, David Russell from Westminster. Actually was interviewed twice, or actually applied twice and interviewed once. So he started Monday.
He's on the road.
The road crew,
Uh-huh.
yeah. The tractor hours on the tractor that is looking to be traded is 4,041 hours. We're not sure how accurate that is, but it is an hour meter, and it doesn't look like it's broken.
That's not a lot of hours.
Doesn't seem like it, but that's all right.
Russ, just a note, June 13th is class night in Millis Falls High School.
June 13th.
Wednesday night before graduation.
Oh, okay.
Just give you a heads up.
Alrighty. I don't think that will have it's more the management, the
Yep,
Wyndham Solid Waste Management's more for these 5, but
giving you a heads up.
yeah, thank you. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Boards and commissions?
In the Gazette again, I'm just gonna keep running the openings. We do have a few more names that we've started talking to. We've got a couple maybes and a couple no's. So we're working on the maybes and seeing if we can get any more people interested in some of the committees. But it's in the Gazette again.
Okay. And I will talk about that. Okay, any other business at this time?
I do. I have three things. I have benches to the fire department. I have a listers meeting that you wanted to explain to the rest of the board. And I have a delinquent tax forgiveness question. So I'd like to start with the benches to the fire department. Pete Harrison and Greg Holton came to me and asked if we had 3 more of these type of benches
Of these?
that they could borrow, use, have. And I told them we have plenty of them. We have at least, there's got to be at least 10 in the Northwest Community House, and there's got to be at least 3 or 4 upstairs, 2 or 3 on the landings. So we have them. Whether we give them to them or we let them use them, that's up to you guys, but
I thought most of the ones at Northwest Minister had been absconded with.
What's that mean?
Taken.
Stolen.
No, you guys were sitting in them that last meeting. No, there's plenty of them
Is
there.
there?
Yeah,
Let's take
I
those.
was thinking there was a bunch of them that were missing out of there.
I
and
think
that
it's
being
great.
said, I'd like to have the road crew help out and go get them with a truck and bring them over to the fire station, if that's all right.
I think it's great they're being used. Yes, do you need a motion?
No, I don't need a motion, I just want
Okay.
to, yes,
Yep,
okay,
that's fine.
thank you.
That good with everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're using them?
For their meetings, yep, they don't have enough chairs, I guess. That's correct. I'm gonna skip to the delinquent tax forgiveness.
Okay.
Since we've taken over, we've collected about $170,000 in delinquent taxes, but what we're finding is when you send out the letter, people get it, they process it, they send the check, and by the time they sent the check, a 1% interest had been added, which in some cases pulls it to a ridiculous amount, 70 cents, $5.10. I'm asking for a motion to forgive anything less than $10. You have, Ally gave me the gist of, you guys had talked about this years ago, that $5 was your cutoff.
I actually thought,
And-
I don't know it was a motion, but I know we had told anything under $5. if
We
it's
could
that,
forgive.
We could forgive.
And
yeah.
I'm asking for 10. It's still pretty small potatoes when you're getting a large bill paid to go say, oh yeah, by the way, you owe us $8 more or $9 more. I think if they've made that effort to pay all the interest and penalty up to that point, and you've got just that last little hiccup.
The only thing around where we had the same conversation is that will there be people who actually abuse it and always send in $5 or $10 less, knowing that you're gonna forgive it? So we left it up to whoever collected to make that final decision, but they had the board to go up to $10.
It's obvious that
Right.
what I'm asking for is only the ones that are sent just before that date of another 1% added. So it ends up being petty change, and it's really just, it's like an insult to them to say, oh yeah, by the way, you owe us, $5 more, or you owe us.
For when your check was in the
$8 more.
mail.
Exactly. So I'm asking for that flexibility to forgive at least no more than $10. And then it would be only if that happened, that it transpired through the mail.
And that you'd want as a motion.
That I need as a
I
motion.
have no problem with that.
Then I move that this in case you want the authority to not be the town manager, to be, what is your title?
Delinquent tax collector.
I move that we allow the delinquent tax collector to have the ability to write off up to $10 on late fees.
You've got to be more precise than that, or it's gonna get abused.
That's what that was my first part of the conversation. I said, let him have the
It's-
ability to do that.
Right, please, and leave it as the ability to.
Right.
Because there's some that, yes, exactly, they just keep paying what they can, and the last payment is $10. That's great, they don't get forgiven.
Right.
It's the ones that have made the effort,
Right.
they're trying to pay it.
That's
and
why I was
it-
trying to
and
make the
that-
motion that you
The
have
10th
the
of the month
ability
goes by and
to
it adds
decide to
just
do
that
that
little.
and not have to come back to the select board.
Yes, that's what I
I'm
would-
hoping the way I read them, I was trying to make the motion that way.
What's the motion there, Millie?
Move to allow the delinquent tax collector to have the ability to write off up to $10 in
Late fees?
And fees.
In interest
interest,
fees.
Wouldn't that do
interest
it?
fees.
That would do it, because that's all it is that last little,
Move to allow the delinquent tax collector to have the ability to write off up to $10 in interest fees.
I prefer the
Second.
word discretion.
Yeah.
To have the
Okay.
discretion to write off.
I don't know that word, so you're putting it in my mouth.
But I like that word better than leaving it.
So put that word discretion.
Discretion.
That the delinquent tax card has a discretion.
Provided that's okay
That's
with
okay.
everyone else.
Yeah.
I'll fix it. I'll know when it
First, I'll
says.
make the motion.
Word
I'll
will pick
change
it
it.
up. but-
Would the clerk read the motion one more time, please? Thank
Oh
you.
my God.
Getting back to you.
To
For all those mean
move to
things
allow
you
the
did to him.
delinquent tax collector to have the discretion to write off up to $10 in interest fees
For delinquent taxes.
for delinquent taxes. Do you want me to read it again?
Nobody will believe that that word came out of my mouth, but I'll go along with it.
Well, I'm gonna put it right down
Yeah.
there.
All right, motion's been read. All those in favor? And seconded. All those in
Thank you.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Now, we had a conversation, Russell and I and Nemrick, on the listers. Job issues and what's
And contract.
and contract of what's going on. It appears that the contract is being, other than they haven't put the hours in that they said they were gonna put in, they are doing what they specified in their contract. It appears that way. We are going to have a meeting with the Board of Listers, as far as
Who's winning?
the select board.
Oh, okay.
As far as what they're, because as in, well, we might as well, as in the treasurer's position, the lister's office is kind of in the same boat in the sense that there's more hours being put in than we anticipated were going to be put in.
Can I just go back to your original statement and find out what, I mean, you mean that the contract that we believed we had with them was not the contract we had?
No. No, the contract that we have is the contract we have. But what they're doing to service that contract is not correct.
Yes,
It's not,
that's what
they're not
we-
putting in the hours that
Okay, so,
they're supposed to.
and they refuse to do it?
No,
No, if you let me.
Oh, okay, all right. I don't know, well, because,
So what they have been applying pressure to the listers, actually, is to take on more responsibility
Right.
of what Nemrick has been doing, and having the listers do it, which was not what we had set out to do to begin with. So, one of the options is to go to an hourly position rather than to have a contract with them, right? Which would actually give us more usable and basically it would be less money, or we think it.
no
it-
question, it will be less money.
It would be so much an hour, they would spend actually more time down here, in theory. Whether they do or not, I don't know, but if we don't have the contract, my only question is, do we have as much of a stick to throw at them, at the hourly rate, but.
Well, they're supposed to be here 35 days. We've never seen anyone here more than probably 25 days. So by the hour, we'll definitely make out, because even if he does do the 25 religiously, we're still gonna make out because the assessment value is higher than it would be per hour.
So 2 questions, one of which, are we still paying them per the contract?
I have talked to Ernie just today, and he is going back to look at the service cards from Al Cudent from his office to see what he can do about the last few payments, to see if he can forgive them.
Go back what she's
Wait a
saying.
minute.
You did, I think what Sue was asking you did send them the money. The question is, we were paying them for hours that they didn't really.
We actually held the last check until
Oh, you
we
did?
met with them.
Okay, I think that's what she was asking. I was
Yes, and so the last payments for this year that we're in will be held until
Okay.
he comes up with a per hour resolution to what actually was spent versus what we are spending. And then he'll forgive whatever, possibly.
And so the other question is, part of the issue was that there were things they don't want to do, that they're trying to make the listers
That
do.
has
But
gone, that has gone away now.
Oh, it has?
Yes, they have
Has it
put
gone away,
the,
Jackie?
Oh, they just met with them,
Oh,
we just
okay.
found out on Monday, I think
they,
it was Monday.
they put the
that they
pinch
met
to
with them.
Al and said, no, you can't just pick and choose the best parts of your job and only do that.
Okay.
You'll either do the whole job or we'll move you. And he likes the town, he's got, his roots are slowly but surely getting set here, so he's willing to,
This is the
Do-
guy that they had working for them?
that's correct,
Yeah.
that's correct.
And here again is a situation where Jackie has, so many hours that she puts in, which I assume you're comfortable with the hours that you're doing now, but really don't want to do a whole lot more hours than you're doing now. Where we have 2 other listers that are more comfortable with putting in more hours. So it's another town entity that we're going to have to look at again budget-wise at in the end of June to see where we're going to end up with for next year. And I thought probably the best thing to do is we'll have a board meeting with the listers
Okay.
and sit down and find out, how much they want to do. Jackie is kind of, she's the head lister actually, so she can, but to find out how many hours that she wants to put in, how many hours there again that we need to have put in by the listers. It's certainly going to be less, as they told us from Nemrick, it's going to be, less of a financial burden for the town if the listers pick up more of the slack than Nemrick does. So that's something that we've got
But
to do.
before the listers meet with the select board, there's going to be a round table between the listers, Nemrick, and probably 1 or 2 of you
Well, that makes
to
sense.
sit on it,
Yeah.
to go through again the scope of work,
Right.
to make sure that everybody's on the same page, this is what we're going to do in-house,
who's doing
and
it.
this is what's going to be done from the assessment firm. So
And again, with the.
that should come first, and then
Yeah.
the meeting with the full board.
And the reason why it's a little difficult, because when we set the budget, we had said it, we did increase our hours as listers. Right now, it's 12 hours for 3 of us, so 4 hours a week each, at $12.50 an hour. When we did the budget, we increased it to 6 hours, so per lister, so 18 hours a week at $13.50. That was because we assumed Nemrick was gonna continue on doing what they were doing, and we were gonna try to use that extra hours to go out and do the 20%, the 20% of properties, the inspections on them, not thorough ones, not getting inside, but just going and visiting each property to see if anything's changed, anything new has been built without permits, that kind of thing. So that's what we increased our hours for, but, so that isn't in the budget as well for the new fiscal year, so, because we weren't expecting that. That was something
Right.
we didn't know.
And that's something, as I said, we may, during the roundtable discussion, we have some thoughts, and Nemrick has some thoughts. We may not even have to have a meeting with both full boards, but it's another,
It's another
there again, it's
I
another
agree.
elected position
I
that,
know.
you kind of, have your own budget that you have to deal with, so.
Exactly. We didn't-
Anyway,
Yeah, we didn't know things were gonna change, but.
yep, so
yeah.
that's kind of where that stands at the moment. You'll be hearing from us, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, Russ had told us, yeah.
All right. That's all I got at the moment.
Can I ask a question? Hey,
Certainly.
Russ, a long time ago, when I first got on, as people moved into town, the realtor would bring them in and introduce them to get, know their tax rate. We gave out like a welcome package. And my thinking was there again, getting recruitment on these boards we don't do anything like that anymore and
We don't, but-
do we actually still have realtors
I
bring
have-
people in?
I have the best intentions to get with the Activities Commission
Okay.
and have them create something that they can hand out. And it would be in relationship to this office, so that when we know somebody's brand new, that the commission can put together a packet and bring it to them.
It seems like I ran into a couple of new people moving to town and they wanted like, how do I join?
Yeah.
Who do I see?
Yeah.
I like to be involved with town because you're excited because you bought a place here. And it's like, yeah, where's your contact? You're right. So-
Well, I mean, one thing we could think of, and I was gonna ask about this, so, the website, and so you said we do that, is that Kelly that's going to be doing it? Our website, our town website?
Yes?
So, like, the Gazettes for 2018 aren't up yet, on the website.
Okay.
So, but I was just thinking, she might not have gotten around to, working on the website or whatever, but that might be a good place, that homepage, to put something about, looking for volunteers, some little blurb,
So
or,
what we have is very limited.
Right,
And
exactly.
the front page is, the way it's set up is not, it's not gonna accept much more information, so we keep trying to keep it fresh, trying to take the old stuff off, put the new stuff on, but you have to dig, you have to go into the activities, bring down that menu, and then there's a lot of room in there. But on the front page, which is really, really tough, there's not a lot of room, not a lot of space to actually, put something like that. But we're putting the important stuff, as you guys deem it important, so, but I thought the Gazettes
I
were
don't
in
see
there,
it.
but in a,
not the 2018, so.
okay.
I mean, I think, a lot of people aren't gonna go beyond the homepage, so even if we just had something that said,
I know we're not receiving it electronically anymore.
Well, we aren't.
No. And that could be why,
Oh, yeah.
but I
Well,
will,
It's
I
not
will
useful
ask.
if we don't have electronically.
Right,
Put it up there,
exactly.
so.
I wonder with the Gazette, do they ever get the new property owner's address, like the new addresses when we have the PTTRs? Does that ever get updated? I know it's a volunteer paper. I'm just curious, that's a good, because
They go to the residents, they don't go to the people.
that's what I mean. So when someone buys
They
it-
go to that house.
But
So
do they update
if
the-
David owns it one day and I own it the next,
Do
I'm
they
gonna get his
update it?
paper.
Okay, because I know mine still comes with my ex-husband's name on it from 5 years ago. I'm just
That
wondering,
could be,
but we had a
so.
PTTR that showed that I was the
Yeah.
property owner. So I'm wondering if they get the new property owners'
I doubt it.
names and addresses. If they updated that, then those new people coming into town would actually be able to read
Let's
it.
put it this way, I've never given them a
Exact.
brand new mailing list. Let's
I'll
go that
talk to
way.
Donna.
I was just thinking, that came to
I mean,
mind.
even on these board committee people, there's no reason, because you're new to town, you can't get on the board. And I ran into several that said, hey, I moved in town, how do I get involved with something? And
Send 'em
I'm
to
sitting
me.
there going like, I'm a select person, I don't even know how to tell you.
Send them to us.
That's why I think
You've
we
been a
should-
select person for how long? I'm really
on
dying to
the
hear this
activities
answer.
No,
Don't remember.
You're not on the Activities Commission, okay.
no, but if there's some way we could someday update that homepage so we could
Yes.
put more stuff,
We've been
because I
looking at it,
think,
but-
a lot of people, that's what they look for, and,
It's
Okay.
a task that we need to,
put it on the list.
How about, no, we're still under other business. How are we doing with our dog thing in the Gazette? Speaking of,
the dog thing.
yeah, we were gonna have the girl that came in and talked to us, write articles.
Yeah,
for
I
the
don't know if
Gazette
she,
and-
I
To
get
try
it just
to-
like you do, I don't get her articles, specifically, but she was supposed to be working on one. I haven't seen it published yet, but I don't go through the Gazette like I probably should. nobody else has seen an
Because
article about the dog.
that was one of our thoughts, to try to get more people to register their dogs,
Yeah.
is to
What's that?
educate
You didn't
them.
want to waste the time of 30 seconds going through the Gazette?
I
Takes
read my
longer than
article,
that.
I just,
Not much. And I'm a slow reader.
It's a volunteer paper.
Okay.
Write something, Dave.
Yeah.
Any other business at this time? Hearing none, day of the next meeting is May 9th, 2018, and we will be going into executive session.